Good evening. This is Harold Zawatsky. I'm the chairman of the Fairfield Board of Assessment Appeals. Today is Tuesday, March the 16th, and we are beginning these deliberation discussions at 6:06 p.m. Kathy, can you please do a roll call?
Yes. Paulette Kuzo,
Here.
Kathleen Griffin,
Here.
Alexis Harrison,
Here.
Peter Rupert. Peter's not here. Harold Zawatsky,
Here.
Ronique Patel. Ronique is not here. John Spoiler. John is not here. Judy Zablack.
Judy's here.
Catherine Gift.
Catherine's here.
That
Thank-
completes the roll call.
Thank you, Kathy. Today's agenda is to hear and deliberate appeals brought before the board. And Kathy, I believe that you have created a list to assist us in going through it in an orderly fashion. And we're going to start at the bottom of this list and work our way up. So I do
Can someone
see,
send me the list, please? Because I'm just not seeing it in my inbox at the moment.
Sure, let me forward it. I just sent it to Judy. Let me send it to you too. Let's see.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Did I just send it to you, Judy? You got it, right? Well, I know, because I searched for WebEx. Hold on. Okay, I just sent it from my Optimum. If it doesn't go through, let me know and I'll try to send it from a Gmail.
Alexis, this is Harold. Please check your spam as well, because sometimes.
No, I
Yeah, I
got
know
it, but I was, anyway, thank you very much.
Okay. I wonder if it's when I use the, the BAA email for everybody. I wonder if that's why people are having trouble sometimes. So. Harold, this is Kathleen. I actually wanted to start with the Pine Creek, if that's okay. I know it's in alphabetical order by neighborhood, but I'd rather wait on the attorneys. I think I can do them, but I'd love a few more minutes. So if we could start with the Pine Creek, you have a few on Pine Creek.
I do.
Yeah.
I can run through those.
Okay, great. And just so, I guess 563, 564 or something are pretty. Are the
Yes.
lowest. Okay.
Those properties are linked, so we'll do them in order. So I bring your attention to appeal number 563. The property is located at 417 Pine Creek Avenue, and the owner is Stephen and Sandra Frost. This appellate is appealing the assessed value of their land, or appraised value of their land. In filling out the petition, they did put numbers in for the assessed value and actually confused and switched the values that they put down on the town value, whereas the town value for 563 should be 25,760. They put the value for the property at associated with appeal number 564. So I will read the corrected information based upon the town's values. The town has, and so I make a motion to grant this appeal related to 563, appeal number 563, to $10,000, which is the requested fair market value by the appellant. And I open this up for discussion.
This is Kathleen. I'll second it.
Okay. I did speak with the assessor's office about this. I did, and in the record, in the information, it shows that this property was purchased along with the property associated with appeal number 564, and that is 421 Pine Creek Avenue. These properties are across the street from the appellant's main domicile, which is 420 Pine Creek. This is vacant land, and he was using as comps other vacant properties on Pine Creek. And he questioned why his value was so much higher. And in fact, looking at some of the other comps, it appeared that he has very usable land and it's associated with his property. And the amount that he's asking for is ridiculously low. I shouldn't use that term, but it is very low compared to the town's assessed value and also what the purchase price was. And he has utilization of those properties. So my feeling is that the appeal should be denied. If anyone has some information regarding this, and I see Ross raising his hand. Yes, Ross, please. You're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. This is Ross. The town value that's stated there is actually the assessed value, assessed value, not the appraised.
That's right. The town's value is the assessed value. The appraised value for this particular property at 417 is $36,800. And as I stated, the assessed value on these two properties are switched. The property located at 421 Pine Creek is the 26040, and the property at 417 ends up being on the appeal number 564, and that is 25760. I believe that's correct. So unless there's any debate, I'd like to bring this to a vote.
I have a question. This is Paulette.
Yes, Kathleen.
This is Kathleen. No, Harold, I'm just looking at the sheet. I don't know if you have the appraised value or we're talking assessed with this one, just because I don't want people to be confused, right? I think the appraised value on, which one are we doing first? We're doing appeal 563?
563, the
Yeah.
number that he has for the town's value is an assessed value, and it's actually the value for the property on appeal number 564. He switched them.
Okay, so we just for the
Yeah,
record.
this is Ross. The appraised value for appeal 563 is $36,800.
Correct.
417 Pine Creek.
And the number that he has is the assessed value, but that is for property at 421. So he switched those numbers. But the correct value that the town has on this is $36,800, and his opinion of market value is $10,000. So I'm going to call a vote.
Harold,
Yes, who's speaking?
Paulette, I had a question.
Yes.
So he's saying that this land is a lot of wetlands and it's not buildable. Is that correct?
It's not buildable, and there's a large, looking at the photos, there's a large lawn area, and there's some rushes along the perimeter. And he did pay slightly over $40,000 in 2000, and I believe it was 2014, for the two properties. And there's a record of sales in there. It was sold by an association to him. It was purchased from the Round Hill Road Association, and sales, the HUD, is it HUD record, HUD1, shows that he paid $40,386.86 for the combined two properties.
Okay. So now he recently purchased a parcel similar to the one he owns. It looks larger to me. It looks like the dimensions are more, it looks wider. For $2,000. Now, I'm not saying his land is worth $2,000, but do we know if that land was similar to his as far as not really usable that much with wetlands and non-buildable?
Well, the problem with that, and he did, this is Harold, he did do a comparison, and I think that was it was almost an acre and a half, was it? Or 1.4 acres, something like that. So it was much larger parcels, so the value per square foot or per acre, however you want to think about it, we know from our own experience, does not equally divide or multiply based upon different sizes of the land areas.
So a smaller parcel is more money?
Smaller parcels of land have a greater value, yes.
That makes no sense. I'd buy
Well,
less.
as a realtor, I think you see that.
No, I don't. I do not see somebody buying a smaller piece of land for more money unless it's some prime piece of property somewhere and it's got extreme value. But two pieces of property on the same street, fairly similar looking. The bigger one shouldn't cost a lot less than the smaller one. Judy,
Well,
what do you think?
Correct me, if I have a 1 acre lot next to a half acre lot, and that half acre lot is $100,000, doesn't necessarily mean that the 1 acre lot should be $200,000. It could be
Well, it
less.
doesn't.
Okay,
But what I'm saying is the larger lot in this case is $2,000. He paid $2,000 for it. He didn't pay much. I agree. I realize that, but that's bigger. It looks bigger than what he's got. And that one was purchased for a lot more money, but that was out of the evaluation period. So I guess I'm wondering, what does the town say 421 Pine Creek Avenue is worth?
I think that Ross is raising his hand.
Okay,
So Ross, please.
Yeah, he paid $20,000 for each parcel in 2014.
okay, but not, I don't care about that because that was in 2014. I'm asking what the value of that property that he's comparing it to. 421 Pine Creek Avenue. What does the town have that valued at?
$37,200.
Okay. But that wasn't sold. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, I just think that, I'm not saying that $10,000 is the right amount of money. I'm just saying that for a useless parcel of land, a $36,000 appraisal seems high to me. Unless there was something good he could do with that land, that's a different story.
Well, this is Harold. We do have to come to a decision on whether the appellant's request is valid. And so I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor of granting the appeal to reduce to $10,000, raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. All those opposed, raise your hand. I'm sorry, Alexis, I didn't see your hand.
I'm voting in favor.
Oh, you are. So I'm
Yeah.
going to do
I
this.
raised my hand for the first time when he said yes.
I didn't see it, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem.
All those in favor of granting the requested appeal for reduction to $10,000, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. The motion fails. The appeal is not granted. The vote was, Kathy, perhaps you can call the vote numbers? Since you're
Okay,
recording.
so the vote is 3 in favor, 3 opposed, and 0 abstaining.
This is Harold.
Kathleen,
That is
Harold,
correct.
and Catherine opposed.
All right, the next appeal is number 564. The property is located at 421 Pine Creek Avenue. The owner is Stephen Frost and Sandra Frost. The town has the property appraised at 300, was it 37,200?
This is Kathleen. That's what I see. Yes, I see the town value at 37,200, the town appraised value. Yes.
Thank you. I was just confirming that. And the requested amount by the appellant is $10,000. So same story to tell, same explanation. This property was purchased together with the previous property we discussed. So I think we can move to a vote with a show of hands. All those in favor of approving this petition to the appellate's opinion of fair market value of $10,000, please raise your hand.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, do you have to
Wait.
take,
Before-
make a motion and have it second?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. I'm making a motion to grant this appeal in full to $10,000. Do I have a second? I have a second from Kathleen. I apologize. Thought I was doing well. Okay, we have a second, so I'm going to call a vote. All those in favor of granting the appellant's appeal for $10,000, please raise your hand. I have 3 in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I have 3 opposed. The motion fails. The appeal is denied. Kathy, could you please read out the vote? Kathy, are you there?
I'm sorry, I must have been on mute.
Okay.
The vote is 3 in favor, 3 opposed, 0 abstaining, with Howard, Kathleen, and Catherine opposing. Okay, you hear me that time?
Yes, thank you.
Harold, this is Paulette. Let's start the next one. I just had a question for Ross. Ross, why is it true or is it not true? Because I don't have time to read this whole thing. Is it true that a lot of the other properties that are similar to that one are valued, have a much lower assessment?
You have a particular example I can look up?
Well, he's saying, I'm looking at his. He's saying that, let's see. 443 Pine Creek Avenue, based off of recent sales transaction. I think that's a buildable lot. Something in here is, oh, here it is. 355 Pine Creek Ave. This lot is buildable. And it looks like it's valued, appraised at 31,700. So my question would be, if it's
How was
buildable
it
lot,
determined that it was buildable?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I don't know if it's built. That's what it said. Is this true or is he not accurate in his information? We don't have to
I
do
don't
this now.
believe it's valued as a buildable lot. What was the address on that one? Let me pull it up.
355 Pine Creek Ave. We don't have to wait. I just wanted to know that. I can find that out any time.
This is Harold. I can see a note that was given here that 355 Pine Creek Avenue, the appellant wrote a note. This lot came with the purchase of 362 Pine Creek Avenue. This is a buildable lot and has a garage structure on it. This has much more value. That is a note that I'm reading directly from documentation that was provided by the appellant.
I was asking.
I don't know if it's a building lot. It does have a garage on it. So I don't know if you'd call that a building lot or a partial building lot.
Okay, well.
But the land is valued at 31,700.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to hold up.
And it is 2,613 square feet.
I guess I would, my only comment on it is, if we don't know if it's buildable, it could be, it may not be. He's saying it is. We don't know if it is, so we can't refute that. So we have a lot that could be buildable, much more valuable than it's appraised at, but we're letting it go at an appraisal of 32.7. I don't understand that, but that's okay. All right, I'm ready to go. on.
But no, you know what, but I want to say one thing. It's here's that lot at 362 Pine Creek, even if he says it's buildable and we don't know that it is, it still has a garage structure on it. So he
It's true.
can't put a garage on his property. He can't do that. It's got to be on natural and that's it.
This is Harold. We're not debating that property anyway, because we were talking about two other properties. So whether it's buildable or not, I don't think is a factor here. I suggest.
The value would be. The value would be.
Okay. But we have the statement from the appellant, independent of other information. The next one I'd like to go to is also associated with another property, so I'm going to put those together. The first appeal number I'm going to bring to the table is 632.
Did you vote on this?
Yeah, we
Did we-
did.
Yes, we did.
We actually finalized this vote. We finalized the other vote. Do we finalize this vote too?
I don't think we voted.
I don't think so either. I don't think we can move on. I think we need to finish this one.
Kathy, could you please check your minutes, your notes? Did we vote on this
Yes.
one too? And I believe that both of them.
You voted on 2 appeals so far, 563 and 564, and you voted the same way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm bringing up appeal number 632.
632,
The
okay.
property is 69 Pine Creek Avenue, Fairfield, Connecticut. The owner is Valerie McGuire. The town has the property valued at $52,400. And the appellant's opinion fair market value is $41,160. I make a motion to grant the appeal in full to $41,160. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. It's Judy.
All right, this is open for discussions. I'll explain that this is a strip of land that provides a pet, Ross, you have your hand up. You're mute.
Thanks again. This is Ross. I would suggest you look at this from the aerial to get a good idea of what this strip is.
Thank you. I did not have access to that, Harold. Can you share that with us?
I can try. Let's see.
This is Kathleen. Harold, I'm just noticing too, appeal number 631 that is, right next to it. And I think you said you might handle them together. They both have the same property address. Am I right? Of 69 Pine Creek Avenue, but there's 2 parcels with the same street address. Usually we see a different number when it's 2 separate parcels. So maybe Ross can explain that as well. But typically we don't see them with the same street number. That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah, I would agree they should not have the same, and I don't have an answer as to why.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh my. I'm looking at wow. I'm looking at the GIS map for this. Wow. Wow, it really is. It's a really narrow strip of property. Can anybody see that?
I
Yeah.
can't see it. This is what I've been on.
I
it, so
can't, and I can't show it to you, but if you go on to the GIS, thank you, Ross. Thank you very much. Look at how narrow that is.
Let me turn the aerial on. I think it's, it'll help even more. If that's a bad aerial.
Wow.
This is Harold. The appellant actually did provide a map, but that was associated with 631. And it is in that documentation. But let me explain something about this strip of land.
So there's the strip. And you can see the, call it the mother parcel just on the other side of Pine Creek. So the strip goes from Pine Creek to the beach.
This strip of land has belonged to that house, the owner of that house for many years. And it can be considered a right of way for the owner of that house to access the beach. Did someone want to say something? If you do, please raise your hand. But this strip of land does provide access to that homeowner. It is owned by that homeowner. It does have a sign on it that says Bowman's Way. And the homeowner told me that the town folks use that. And I don't think that it's restricted to just the people on Pine Creek Avenue, but town folks who can find some place to park, I guess, and use that strip to access the beach. So I asked Ross to check and see if that was if there's any impairments on the deed that said this is to be used as a town right of way. Ross, were you able to find out anything?
This is Ross. I pulled the last 3 deeds, the last 3 transfers going back to 1953, and there is no mention of any easements on the property.
So this is Harold. So it seems to me, without too much legalese, that the owner is granting access to the beach using this right of way. I mean, they could put up a gate if they wanted to, but it's an open pathway to not only be used by her, but any other people who wish to access the beach that way. So it is basically not a right of way, legally speaking. It is her property and it gives her access to the beach. Now, there's no dock that it's connected to, but it does lead to a very nice beach area. She's asked for an amount that is in a reasonably close amount figure to what her prior assessment was. She still has an increase, even with that rollback in her requested value. And the town does not have a right of way to this property. She has exclusive use of that property. Any comments? Any discussion?
This is Kathleen. Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Kathleen, go ahead.
This is Kathleen. I was just looking at the field card, Ross. 'Cause I think I've got I mean, it's hard in regular vision because 69 Pine Creek's going to bring up the home and not the strip. But if you click on the PID number, it does bring it up. But it says access to creek only in the notes. Is that accurate? And also in the landline valuation at the bottom, it's also saying strip to creek unbuildable. So I'm just, is that thinking that it's taking them to the creek? It's not, right? It's taking them to the beach.
This is Harold. I don't know where the creek per se ends, the creek definition, but I don't know exactly what's on the other side, but it is a beach area. That's
Right.
true.
This is Kathleen. I'm sorry. Is that the end of South Pine Creek Road right there? It is to the left, right? This isn't down off of Old Dam. This is right at the end of Pine Creek Beach. The town beach is straight ahead. So this is about 4 parcels to the west. Or to the east, sorry, 4 parcels to the east.
I believe that's correct.
Okay. So
Well,
maybe those notes are not great on the card to say that it's access to the creek, because that doesn't seem right to me.
it does have a 5% condition factor based upon the width of the property, what its use can be. So I think that's in the range. But yes, Judy.
Oh, no, finish and then I'll talk.
But I'm inclined to grant this appeal. The amount is somewhat higher than the previous revaluation, but I don't see justification for an increase to this level. Judy?
Yeah, I agree. I think this woman, the owner of this property, seems to me, from what I'm hearing here, she seems to be quite a gracious person. This is her property. This is her access to get to the beach. People are get to the water, get to the creek. And people are going, she could gate that anytime she wanted. And the town is actually getting a benefit because of this person's graciousness here. So, 41,160, that's what she wants. Absolutely give it to her. Give it to her.
Harold,
I'm
this is
for
Paul.
it.
Having been on that,
If
having
there's
been
no further discussion, I'd like to bring this to a vote, but I see a hand raised.
am I not here today or what? Harold, I've been asking to say something for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, Paulette, I'm sorry, but when I'm looking at the photos of the creek and things like that are being shown, I don't see a hand coming up. So please feel free to, and now I see it because
Thank
I'm
you.
back on that screen. I apologize.
That's okay.
Well, I didn't see it. I didn't see your hand either. I only saw like 3 people. I saw like almost nobody here on the screen. FYI.
Okay. Having been on that property, I can tell you that it sounds like it's a nice little access to the beach. However, I don't know if you cannot see this on the GIS. You have to climb down over the rocks to get to the beach. And it's not like she's got a beautiful beach in front of her. She's got a little tiny area where she could bring a chair. There's no place else to go. And getting back up is not easy either. You have to climb up the rocks and then climb up the side of the property, the bank of the property. So it's not like it's a great piece of property. You just stroll out to the beach. So I agree with Harold, but I just wanted to make it clear that this is not an easy access to the beach. So I believe that's overvalued.
I agree. This is Harold. I did not walk the property. I do see a bench on the facing the beach at the opposite end of the walkway from where the house is. And if it was me, I mean, I build a temporary step in the summertime so I could walk down and not have to climb over the rocks. But that's just me. I don't think that is a big issue. But as I said, I'm inclined to grant. I don't know how the vote will go, but I'd like to call the vote. So with a show of hands, all those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested amount of $41,160, please raise your hand. And Alexis,
Yes.
the appeal is granted in full to reduce to $41,160. Thank you. Kathy, do you want to call the vote?
The vote was unanimous to grant 41,160.
Thank you, Kathy. All right, the next one is maybe not as clear cut. This is appeal number 631. The address is 69 Pine Creek Avenue. The owner is Valerie McGuire. And this is the main house associated with the strip of land previously discussed. The requested value, the town has the property valued at $720,200, and the appellant at the hearing adjusted the requested value to $650,000. Adjusted her requested value to $650,000, which I have noted. I make a motion to grant this appeal to the requested amount of $650,000. Do I have a second? Catherine has seconded the motion. Ms. McGuire did point me to two comps, 35 Old Dam Road and also 57 Pine Creek Avenue. And the 35 Old Dam and 57 Pine Creek did sell in the revaluation period. The Pine Creek Avenue sold, and there are cards attached. Sold for $535,000 in May of 2020. The town has assessed at $648,200, appraised at $648,200. And the Old Dam property was sold on January 1st, 2020, for $625,000, and the town has that assessed for $705,100. And Valerie McGuire pointed out that although the Pine Creek Avenue has more square footage, it did sell for $85,000 less than her what the town has her property assessed, appraised at. And also the Old Dam property sold for $25,000 less than, again, I'm going to restate that. The 57 Pine Creek Avenue sold for $85,000 less than her requested value, and the Old Dam properties sold for $25,000 less than her requested value. Okay. She also added some additional properties for comparison purposes, but they are not in the neighborhood. 92 Alden Street, 162 East Lawn, 145 Puritan, 1317 Mill Plain, but they are not in the same neighborhood code. Any thoughts or comments? I would say yes, Kathleen, you're muted.
The houses are pretty similar, it looks to me. I'm just looking at the land line. So just give me a minute to look and see whether she's got a lot more land. That may be why her house is, appraised higher, because obviously down in the beach area. And then sometimes we know these properties sell with the property across the street as part of it or not. So I guess we need to kind of include that dollar amount, even though it's not on this card, it's probably part of the value of her property. So whatever we just valued that at is 40,000, that's sort of adding that value to her home. So I'm just looking, I think the first comp on Pine Creek Avenue, that's probably I would guess the best one versus Old Dam, but I'm not. Old Dam's on the other side of the golf course, am I right? I think so, right? So that one's probably a neighboring property. So she's got 0.2 acres, right? Her land is valued. Oh, where am I? At 577, and the other one's at 542. Okay.
I kind of feel that leaving the requested value to her original estimate would have been helpful to her case, but she did request a change to lower it to $650,000, but that's the number that we're working with. I believe that she does have a bit more square footage of land. The house itself, there are cards for comps in there.
She also has a handwritten sheet with the comps, that lays it out.
Oh, that's helpful.
It's just, the way that I visualize things. a little less than halfway down. Just keep going. There will be a chart, handwritten with the comparisons.
Page 13. And if you
You
need to
guys get the
rotate it,
page numbers. Get the
this
page
is Ross. If you use Control Shift plus and minus, that will rotate the page.
Also a good technique to know.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Give me that again. Control. Ross,
This is-
give me that again.
And then the plus.
It's a quarter of a time at a time. But I do have the field cards here if someone wants to ask me about square footage or land size.
Share, control. 6, 7.
Looking at here, which for 670. Huh?
The appellant's size is 0.207. The other property, get to the page, at 57 Pine Creek is 0.126. So it is smaller.
This is Paulette. It looks like 57 Pine Creek Avenue sold in May of 2020 for $535. And she's got the whole
That is-
history of when it started and how it did. So it might have a smaller property, but then she's not asking for that value. She's asking for over $100,000 more for hers. So
Yes.
535, 6. So I don't think that's such a bad estimate of the value.
He's asking for 670. Is that correct?
Uh,
Okay.
Now, this is Harold. She reduced it at the hearing to $650,000.
She's asking for 650. Okay.
Okay.
This is Kathleen. Did she give you any reason why she brought it down, Harold?
She said based upon her thinking about the information that she had found, that she had brought to the meeting,
Okay.
that she felt that her original estimate of value should be reduced to $650,000.
And that's the motion that's on the table?
That is correct.
Okay.
That, I stated that as the motion.
Thank you.
And this is Harold speaking, if people don't recognize my voice yet. I should mention my name, as we all should.
Harold, this is Paulette. I'm looking at the comparison sheet that she has, and I'm just looking at 57 Pine Creek and 69 Pine. I'm not looking at Old Dam, just those two. And it looks like, I mean, I think she did a good job pointing out the features. And she doesn't have central air. So square footage isn't off. So hers is a little bit newer, but 1920, 1930 really doesn't make that much of a difference to me. And again, that sold for $535, and now she's looking for a value of $650. And if you look at the two side by side, I don't think she's unreasonable. If it were me, I would be voting to approve.
I'm ready to vote too. I'm ready to vote as well.
Yeah.
Let's vote.
Judy, Kathleen, did you raise your hand for comment or to move for a vote?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. All those in favor of granting this appeal to a reduction of $650,000 as requested by the appellate, raise your hand. Alexis, how do you vote? I see.
have my hand up.
I see it now. I see 6 in favor of granting the appeal in full to $650,000. Thank you very much. Kathy, would you please read the vote?
The vote is unanimous, 6 yeas to grant the reduction to $650,000. That's appeal number 631.
Thank you very much.
I need to step out for a little bit. I may come back. I want to keep myself on here. I'm going to stop the video, and if I can come back, I will be back. Otherwise, so just, okay? So
This is
I may
Harold.
be back, everybody, okay?
This is Harold. Thank you, Judy. We still have 5 members. We have a quorum. We can continue with our voting and discussions.
I'm going to try to come back in a little bit.
All right, that's fine. I have another one. I'm going to suggest, since we jumped over 4:30, to do the prior to appeals. I'm going to go back now to 4:30. And this one is also associated with another property, 468. So I will do those together or in order, okay? So appeal number 430 is a property located at 31 Pine Creek Avenue. It's owned by Joseph Siafi. The town has the property valued at $91,200, and the requested value is $45,000.
Excuse me, Harold, can you give us the address one more time?
The town's appraisal is $91,200. Assessment is $91,200, and the requested value is $45,000.
Harold, can you give us the address again, please?
31 Pine Creek Avenue.
Thank you.
Mr. Siafi was represented by an attorney who signed, was present with Mr. Siafi and spoke on his behalf. This is a garage. This is a garage space associated with the other property at 38 Pine Creek Avenue. Can't be built as a, we made the motion, right? So I'm discussing. It's not, can't get FEMA compliance, so it can't be used as an office. 3,000 square feet can't be built. I think that he's referring to the size of the land. And again, the attorney was on his behalf. Yes, 3,000 square feet is the size of the property in question. The attorney mentioned that it should be considered in combination with 38 Pine Creek Avenue. I suggested that perhaps they want to speak with the assessor's office to combine those properties. And in the folder was information about related to condition of the garage and comps.
Excuse me, Harold, this is Kathleen. Ross, do you mind bringing that up on the GIS for us? Because sometimes we get these 2 parcels, but they're owned by the same person. Would you be able to put that up?
Yeah, this is Ross. I can do that. Can you, while I'm doing that, can you clarify? He's got a town value of 46.7 on his appeal. This is appeal 430, correct?
I pointed that out to the attorney.
Yep.
And she agreed that that should be $91,200.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like they changed it. If you go through the whole file, they made a change on another form.
Yes, that was something that I had written on the form. However, I did not adjust the appellant's fair market value accordingly.
Okay.
And that could represent a figure that is, again, the assessed value, not the appraised fair market value. We can take that number and bump it up, but I'm not sure. It wasn't presented to be changed. Attached in the file also is the notice of real estate assessment change that was provided by the town, which shows the current assessment and the change. So it's clear that that is an assessment number and not the town's value as appraised. Comps were provided, but the comps really related to the a house, not a garage.
Can you all see the GIS? This is Ross.
This is Harold, I
Thank
see it, yes.
This is right. This is Ross. This is a bit different GIS. This is an aerial that was flown this spring. So these images are all very recent. And I do have the ability to rotate around the property. So if you'd like me to move around, let me know.
Well, I see the garage, yes. This is Harold. It is a 3-car standalone garage on the property. I don't see the full property of the 38 Pine Creek Avenue, which is below. And if we go a bit further, yeah, that does end up facing Pine Creek, right? The even numbers are on the side of the road that abut Pine Creek Avenue. Okay. So if you zoom in, I
Beach side. Excuse me. I'm sorry, no, beach side. Yeah, not creek, but beach. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this is Harold. We can see that it doesn't appear that the main house has a garage, so the 3-car garage across the street can be viewed as the main parking garage for that home. Okay, that was a good one.
Yeah, this is about the best view.
Any comments? I really don't have anything more to add myself. There was that confusion, though, of the attorney regarding the assessed and appraised values.
This is Kathy. Before discussion, we need a motion.
I thought I made a motion, but
I'll second it.
if I didn't, I make a motion to grant this appeal in full for $91,200. And who seconded it?
Catherine.
Catherine seconded it. Thank you.
No, I didn't second it.
Oh,
but
whose voice
I
was
think it
that?
was Alexis.
Alexis, did
I
you
don't
second?
think I don't think I seconded it. I was just asking for, no, I did not.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Kathleen?
Kathleen has seconded it. Second the motion.
I need clarification on, are we looking at the garage property or are we looking at 38? I don't see a motion for 38, but there's a lot of documentation in there. And
I
then we
think that this
comps
is Harold.
from Fairfields Beach Road. So what is the motion? Is it on the house or is it for both the house and the garage?
This is Harold. These are two separate appeals. They have separate appeal numbers, and we are dealing with the garage separate from the house, which happens to have the same owner.
Okay. Is there
Kathleen?
anything in this packet relating to the garage comp?
Yes, this is Harold, that information is, garage comps, no. I did not
Okay.
find any specific comps for the garage. There was some discussion about condition factors. And that it's 3,000 square feet and that can't be built further.
Okay, so everything in this package really relates to the house and the comps for the house, other than the first page and the field card for the garage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think
No,
that-
there was a lot of extra paper and I didn't know what I was
Yes.
looking for, so.
I think that in pulling together the information, the attorney didn't really make
That's
it
okay,
clear
Howard.
between the
Harold,
two.
that's okay. I just wanted to make sure. I didn't
Ross
want to
has
miss
his
that.
hand up. Ross you have your hand up? This is Harold.
Yeah, I mean, there is an appeal on the house. It's appeal number 468. Maybe you want to look at that.
Is that-
This is Kathleen. I'm sorry. I just want to point out before we go too much further that the house sold in September of 2020 for $1,850,000. And if you look at the property card on the garage, the sale price is 0. So that probably means that the beach lot and the garage sold together for $1,850,000. So I think when we look at this one, and the town has the value split between two properties. So I think and he bought it right in the reval period. I don't know if it was a qualified sale or not, but I think if someone's got a calculator, they can add the amount that the town has on the garage property to the amount the town has on the beach property and see how close that is to $1,850,000. And then maybe we can decide better what we want to do rather than trying to consider them as separate
Thanks.
entities.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at that. Okay.
This is Harold. I think that we would, to determine whether these two properties were sold together, we'd have to ask the assessor's office or even look to the deed.
This is Ross. I'll pull the deed up for you.
If I add the two assessments together, I'm sorry, if I add the two town appraisal values together, I come up with 1,704,500. That would be 1,613,300 plus 91,200.
This is getting paid $1,850,000. I'm guessing for both. If we look at often when you look at the field card, this is Kathleen, you can see the names are exact, the name transfers are similar on the ownership history. I have to look and see what the sale date is on the garage property, but often it says $0 amounts, but it will still have its sale date. But I didn't look at that card yet. Or I had it
Ross
up.
and the
This is
warranty
Ross.
deed will,
We do list them as the same book and page,
All right, this is Harold. So they were
but I'm pulling the deed up.
together for, and I did ask the attorney the question, how do you get to this $1,300,000 number when the house was purchased for $1,850,000? Her answer was, well, he probably overpaid. She did not have the information or share the information with me that the two properties were purchased together. Ross, your hand
if
is up.
that's the
Yeah.
case,
Looking at the
we add 'em-
deed, it does list parcel 1 and parcel 2.
Okay, well, I think that it's to their benefit that we look at these two parcels together because as being purchased together, I should say. Ross, did you have your hand up?
Yep, this is Ross. It was an executor's deed, and that would be why it was an unqualified sale.
Okay, well, I think we feel comfortable with that, but in adding the town's value for these two properties, we get to a number that's actually lower than what they paid, right?
could someone confirm that I picked up the right two numbers before we
Sure.
move on that?
We have,
Kathleen, I believe that's correct. I saw,
Okay.
what did we say, 91,000 and the other was 1,600,000. So you're going to be 1,700,000 something. I don't know if your numbers are exactly right. And the town, I mean, and they paid 1.8, so they paid about 150,000 more than we currently have them if you add the two together.
I just wanted somebody to confirm I picked up the two numbers. So given that information, I'll just say I'm ready to vote.
then I'd like to call a vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal number 430 for a requested value of $45,000, raise your hand. I have one vote in favor. All those opposed, raise your hand. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 opposed.
My hand's up, Harold.
Yes, I saw your hand up for being opposed.
Okay.
Thank you. I have 4 opposed, 1 in favor, 4 opposed. Kathy, can you call out the vote, please, on appeal number 430?
Okay, appeal number 430. The vote was 1 for, 4 against, 0 abstaining, with Howard, Paula, Kathleen, and Catherine voting against. The motion fails.
Thank you. All right, then the next one is the property that was mentioned previously, appeal number 468, 38 Pine Creek Avenue. The town has the property valued at $1,613,300, and the requested value is $1,300,000 even. Any discussion? I make a motion. Was it seconded? I make a motion to grant in full the requested amount of $1,300,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
I see Catherine seconding. I'm opening this for discussion. There was a lot of documentation here. Some of it had to do with some comps were mentioned. However, and there was what appeared to be a start of some sort of appraisal. There are comps, and if I'm correct, an appraisal inspection appraisal that was done on 5/19/2020, showing a lot of photographs of the interior and exterior of the property. However, I did not see in that appraisal any conclusion or value. Paulette, did you have your hand up?
No, I'm just wondering, I was reading what it said on it, and it's somewhere I read that half the house is unlivable. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, if that's true, I'm wondering if that sale price of $1.8 million and change is accurate. And I can't imagine a house there selling for $1.8 million, even though it's a great spot, with half of it unusable. I wonder if something happened to it. He didn't indicate that anything happened to it since he bought it, but it just doesn't seem quite right to me.
This is Harold. Yeah, I don't want to guess on why that is the case. I see Ross's hand is up. Maybe you can shed some light on this, Ross. You're muted.
This is Ross. I'm looking at the recorded deed, and it is $1,850,000, and it indicates 2 properties, 31 and 38 Pine Creek Ave. I will print this and load it up right now to appeal 468.
Given this is Harold. Given the date of purchase and which was, what did we say?
This is Kathleen. I believe it was September of 2020. I think it was 9/20.
9/08/2020.
Thank you. Is it possible to consider that this house was purchased in its current condition for rehabilitation?
That home inspection report that you referred to is dated May
Thank
19th.
you.
Yes, the inspection report is dated May 19, 2020.
This is Kathleen, which indicates that he was aware of those issues when he paid 1 point, whatever it was he paid, 1.8,
850.
right?
I would agree with that.
The purchase was made after the inspection. This is Harold, yes. Any other thoughts or comments? Well, we can bring this to a vote. All those in favor of granting the requested amount of 1.3 million or $1,300,000, raise your hands. All those opposed, raise your hand. Paulette, did I see a finger up there? Maybe just tilt it down a tiny bit so I can see more of your fingers. It appears that we have a vote of 0 to approve, to grant, and 5 opposed to the appeal. I would ask Kathy to call the vote.
Appeal number 468 failed with a vote of 0, 4, and 5 against.
Thank you. I do have 2 more on in this run of Pine Creek Avenue. If you'd like, I can continue.
That sounds good to me.
All right, the next one is
Anybody
616, appeal number 616. The property address is 459 Pine Creek Avenue. The owner is George Pushner and Diane Pushner. The requested value by the appellant is $1,019,188. The town has the property valued at $1,291,500. I make a motion to grant the requested amount by the owner of $1,119,188 in full. Do I have a second? Kathleen seconds the motion. I open it up for discussion, and I can share with you what I was told. The owner presented comps and did an average of the comps to get to an opinions market of market value, and that's how they arrived at the $1,019,188. The owner shared with me that he is a commercial appraiser, so he was following what appears to be some common practices in making adjustments of comps in terms of the number of rooms, depreciation. But these are, I believe they were all in the 68 neighborhood code. The property is on the creek side. It is FEMA compliant. It is relatively new. He pointed out comps such as 433 Pine Creek Avenue, 444 Pine Creek Avenue, and 454 Pine Creek Avenue, which I believe he said were all creek sides. And he used a cost approach based upon square footage to derive his values. Anyone have comments, or do you want me to run through any of the documentation?
Harold?
This is Harold. Yes. Kathleen? Catherine.
So I see the second page of the report, he has his three summaries, three methods of valuation here. And summary one is the sales. Summary two, he's comparing to other properties on his street for the appraisals, but they were not necessarily sold. Is that correct, my understanding? So I'm kind of focused on summary one.
Oh, this is Harold, okay.
Is that correct? That summary one is for the sales in the neighborhood? And that's why I guess go over to Old Dam.
Summary one lists 5 properties in the same neighborhood with neighborhood code 68 with adjustments for differences in property attributes. And there are 5 properties there within the sales period, yes.
Okay. And it seems that he had to go over to Old Dam Road. And I'm just trying to confirm, Old Dam Road is really going to be Creek? And is this one on the beach? Because it's Pine Creek Avenue.
This is Harold. I will ask the assessor if they can access an aerial photo.
This is Ross. I'll do that for you.
This is Kathleen. Thank you, because I'd like to see where those comps are as well. And the age, does anyone know the age of the comps? Because this is a new construction, right? It's built in 2018. So he's got the 57 Pine Creek Avenue. We saw that one a minute ago. I think that was in one of the other comparisons, if I'm not mistaken. I thought that was one of the comps somebody used, so.
Probably the only one that's sold on Pine Creek Avenue, other than the 1.8 million.
This is Harold. The subject's property, I did notice on the field card, was upgraded significantly in 2019. The 433 that he mentions is older construction, and that I don't know what the sales price of that was. Maybe it's in that.
Okay.
Where is he? 459.
This is Ross. Can you all see that?
I can see it. I'm just not sure which one's his. Where's your little cursor there? Where's he going?
This is his right here. He's next to the mostly vacant lot. And they're,
Okay,
with the dock.
And he's got the creek more than he's not on that other side. That's good. So I think the old dam properties are definitely good comps then. Thank you.
If you'd like me to pull up any of the comps, I can do that.
This is Kathleen. Yes, please. So I can see, especially if you zoom out a little bit, or I'm not sure.
Which comp would you like first?
53 Old Dam. They're all going to be on Old Dam. 53, 35.
This is Harold. Well, we'll soon see soon enough. Okay.
So that's 53. 35 is actually next door, sort of.
So this is Harold. So that has water access as well. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so the subject is, I'm going to turn the labels off. It gets a little busy. So the subject was here, and those comps are, You can see the green pin, wait till it redraws. There it goes. So that's 53 and 35 Old Dam.
That
I'm
looks
just
like a
gonna
good comp
find-
to me. What are your thoughts? I mean, it looks good. It looks fair.
Yeah, I think I was just wondering why they were all old damn comps, but now I can see why. I agree with you, Alexis.
This
This
is
is
Ross.
Kathleen.
This one right here is 80. It's not on the water.
No.
And 73 is across the street and on the creek.
This is Kathleen. The age of those, does anybody looked at the age of the comps? This is a new construction. That's why I ask, and I know the houses have a lot more value when they're newer.
I did not pull the comps for, which comp are you interested in again?
This is Kathleen. Some of the old dam ones that are on the water, I'm just trying to figure out, are they new construction or are they 1920s, older homes? I just want to know because this is brand new, right? It was a lot sale. He built it.
If you give me an address, I'll look it up because I am in Vision. You want to pick one or two of those?
This is Kathleen. I have to go back to the comp. Sorry, I should have written them down. I didn't write them down and now I've changed my screen.
Are we talking about the ones on Old Dam or Pine Creek? The 53 is one of the ones that we were talking about. We were also talking about 79.
Yeah, this is Ross. I have the ages for the Old Dam properties.
Thank you.
53 Old Dam is 1997. 35 Old Dam is 1928. 80 Old Dam is 1991. And 73 Old Dam is 2003.
This is Paulette.
This is Kathleen. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
When I look at the comps, the ones that Russ just mentioned, this guy's an appraiser, I guess. He adjusted for interior, the quality of the finish. So even though they're older, he's made an adjustment for that.
Okay, this is Kathleen. I see one other sale down there. It's on Pine Creek Avenue, the odd numbered side, but it's not on the creek. It's sold for $1,625,000 and it's a new construction, 165 Pine Creek Avenue. So I think it's across from, the beach. So it's not on the creek, but it is a new construction. I don't know whether that would be considered a comp or not. The town has it at $1,050,000. Wait a minute. Oh. Why did I see that as a sale? Oh, I know. It's a recent sale. Maybe it's not in Vision yet.
This is how within the last 2 to 3 years, there were building permits pulled for close to $400,000. The largest being in 5/17/2019 to elevate the second story, to create a second story, looks like, on the home, and then finishing the attic for storage. So looking at the photo, and again, we don't have an appraisal to go on, and he is basing it on comparing with his neighbors' square footage and condition factors. So I don't know that he is proving his case. He did state that he was he's using neighbors' comparisons, okay?
Paulette, since I think I just got to a point where I just need to see the numbers in a certain way visually. But I think I've gone through it. So Paulette, please check my logic here as the numbers are. he's taken a few properties and he's done these adjusted prices. He's not using his commercial appraisal license, but we can check out. But he's come up with a couple of adjusted prices of 53 of all the ones on Old Dam. And they cover between 995, 1029, 1109, and 1113. So he's adjusted out to those. And I think that's where he's using he's coming up with his 1019 price in there. Might be an average of those 4 or 5 properties. Because the one that's on his street is just really hard to come up to it's just so different. I'm sure he used it because of its location, but I think it's the 4 properties on Old Dam that he has adjusted out to those 4 that I gave you. And if you divide those by 4, comes up with an average of 1061. So I think that was probably brought down to the other one. So I think that's how he's justifying it.
This is Harold, but if we look at the sales of other Pine Creek properties that are in the period, I think that they are generally higher than his. In terms of sold properties, I don't know the specifics for those sold properties on Pine Creek, but they range from what we saw earlier of $1,850,000 down to $535,000. So, it varies. And
What other houses sold on South Pine Creek that we saw? I'm sorry, on Pine Creek that we saw?
on Pine Creek Avenue, you have 10 Pine Creek Avenue. You have 30 Pine Creek Avenue, which we talked about already. You have 165, 179.
He didn't include those? Is that what we're in his sale price of the neighborhood? None of them are in there.
No,
I believe 10 Pine Creek Avenue is a condo, so we would not have included it.
Okay.
oh, that's the first building? Okay.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. Also, I mean, I think Pine Creek Avenue is a better location to be on the creek than Old Dam because you can get to the beach easier from there, I would think, where Old Dam, is sort of, you have to go down by the par 3 golf course and all of that. So while I know it's the same neighborhood code, I don't know, you're also closer to the ocean down there. I think Pine Creek Avenue is probably a better location, even though it's creekside with a dock, than Old Dam. I mean, if I were choosing, I would choose to be down there, but.
This is Harold, and if you look at the higher numbers on Pine Creek Avenue, he's at 459. The ones that sold, 262, 296. 262 sold for $2,150,000. 296 sold for $2,900,000. So he's in a very nice neighborhood, albeit maybe several houses down the street.
I'm in a very nice neighborhood, but my house isn't worth what some of my neighbors are worth.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we're questioning his comparisons.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. Again, I would say 165 Pine Creek Avenue. I have that as a sale date of February 5th, 2021. So it's a little more recent, but that's a new construction, 2014-15, with a garage underneath. It is not on the water on Pine Creek Avenue. It's on the other side. That sold for $1,625,000. So I'm just saying to get to that lower number, to say that's 400,000 less when you've got a dock, and that other house is not on the water, but it is a new construction, FEMA compliant home. So I just have a hard time getting to that number that he has using just the Old Dams and, I don't know.
I think that this method of averaging is subject to being suspect.
Actually, it's not, but we find it, some people on the board find it suspect. I don't. Because
Well, it has to be, listen, it has to be because it's based upon what you're averaging, okay?
but he's basing it on the comps. Let me see
You
his
could
house.
be averaging apples and oranges and come up with fruit salad.
You're making me hungry, Harold.
All right. Listen, I think we can call a vote on this. unless there's really some meaningful further conversation, and I don't want to be talking about fruit salad anymore. I'm sorry, I'm referring to me. So I'm going to call a vote. All
Can I
those,
just,
yes,
can I
please.
just get Kathleen's
Of
number?
course you
What,
can.
Kathleen, what was that one on Pine Creek that you mentioned?
What's the address? Yeah, this is Kathleen. I have 165 Pine Creek Avenue, sold for
Okay.
$1,625,000 on February 5th, 2021. So it is a more recent sale. I don't even know if it's in Vision yet, but when we got the shore sales data, that was listed in there. And 165 is an odd number, which I believe means it's not waterfront, it's on the backside. And it
Right.
looks like it was a new construction, you know, it's built within the last 5 years. It looks like it was a tear down of some sort.
Thank you. So I was curious why that wasn't in his, but it sold so late. It was probably after, and that's why I didn't include it. So, okay.
And it doesn't have a dock or any, you know, unless there's some other beach access with it, it doesn't appear that it has beach access with it. Is that the one you just pulled up, Ross, the 165 Pine Creek? Yes, with the green dot. So it's between French Street and Pine Creek Avenue. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to call a vote unless someone has more to say. All those in favor of granting this appeal to the requested value of $1,019,188, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I see 4 opposed. Do I have any in favor?
I was in favor. Paulette.
All right, let me ask this again. All those in favor, please raise your hand of granting the appeal.
Actually,
have
take
one.
my vote. Yes, I'm voting in the affirmative.
I have 2 in favor of granting the appeal. I have 3 opposed, and I will ask all those opposed to granting the appeal, please raise your hand. I have 3 opposed. Kathy, will you please call the vote?
Okay, for appeal 616,
Yes?
2 voted in favor, 3 opposed, and 0 abstained. Kathleen, Howard, and Catherine opposed.
Thank you, that is correct. All right, the last one that I have in this area is 48 Pine Creek Avenue. The owner is John and Geraldine Strauss. This is appeal number 608. 608 is the appeal number. The address is 48 Pine Creek Avenue. The owners are John and Geraldine Strauss. The requested value is $1,500,000. The town has the property valued at $1,640,000, $1,640,500. I make a motion to grant this appeal in full for $1,640,500. Do I have a second?
Catherine will second.
Catherine has seconded. Not much information was provided. Well, I changed that. The owners did provide a summary of properties that are on Pine Creek Avenue. There's, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, and chose to state the requested value based on calculation of average of neighbors' properties, and was really interested why there was a difference in his property compared to his neighbors. And specifically, he was referring to properties at 38 Pine Creek and 78 Pine Creek, which I believe he stated were on oceanfront beach areas. Any comments? Kathleen?
This is Kathleen. Isn't he oceanfront at 48 Pine Creek? Am I looking wrong?
I believe he is as well, and
Okay.
that's why he's suggesting that he be considered in comparison to 38 and 78 Pine Creek.
Isn't 38 the sale we just did? No, that's a different one. Never mind.
We did it previously. Other reasons for his appeal, adjacent homes are larger with the 3-car garage, and that one recently sold for $1,850,000. I believe that was the 38 Pine Creek address that we reviewed earlier. And the subject's property has not been upgraded for 25 years at least, and per foot per foot assess of land not same as similar neighborhood properties. So he is comparing the assessment of the land, as he states, to be dissimilar from that of his neighbor properties. And he included a listing of his neighbor properties, which he used to calculate assessed values of land and assessed building values and not appraised values. So the numbers you see there are, I believe, assessed land value and assessed building values and not appraised values. Any
Just to
comments
point
from
out
anyone?
this type, that I believe this type of analysis, for 38 Pine Creek, they haven't included the lot across the street that went with it for the $1.8 million. So, because they did only the even numbers.
Okay, any other comments or thoughts?
Harold, it's Paul looking at a sale on Pine Creek Avenue on 10/15/2020. It's 7 rooms, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,072 square feet, acre 8.1. And that one sold for $995. So now this one is not on the water. So his house is not that much different. 2,200 and change in square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. His was built in 1819. This one was built in 2000. And it's valued at it's closed at $995. So I think certainly $995 is too low if you're not on the water, but I would think that he's asking for $1.5 million. I don't think that's an unreasonable number. If you look at these two houses side by side and then consider the age difference, there's a huge difference in the market value. $999. So say $1 million versus $1.5 million. So I don't think $1.5 million is an unreasonable number to ask.
Sorry about that. This is Harold. Are we comparing the same number of bedrooms and bathrooms?
3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Let me see if I wrote that down right. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, in both houses. The house that sold for say $1 million, rounded up to $1 million, was slightly smaller, maybe 100 and something square feet smaller, and the land is slightly smaller at 0.11 versus 0.16. Neither of those discrepancies should account for a $500,000 or, as the town's value, a $640,000 difference in the price. So him asking for 1.5, being on the water, and especially with a house built in, not updated in 25 years and built in 1819, I don't think he's being unreasonable.
This is Harold. We don't even show a sales price. It shows that the house was purchased in January of 1976.
his house, the comp that I'm looking at,
Yeah,
And
yeah. His house,
79
the subject house.
yeah, the comp I'm looking at that's similar to his is on 179 Park Avenue that closed in October of 2020 for 995,000. It's 2,100 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. His is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,200 square feet, so 100 square foot difference. And this one is built in 2000. His was built in 1819, and he says it's not updated in 25 years.
Well, that pertains, this is Harold, that pertains to the house. Is the land value different from beachside versus landlocked?
Well, I don't know. You say it's $500,000 difference, but I don't know what the town. I'm looking at the sale. I have to pull up the field card for the comp to see what they valued the land at versus his. Let's see, what did they value it at?
The subject property's house land value is,
This is Kathleen, 1,380,100.
Yeah,
1,380,000. Yeah,
for a piece of land small, even if it is on the water, and it's the creek, not the ocean. Let's not get carried away with what we're looking at.
This is the ocean. No, this is the ocean.
This is the ocean?
Mhm.
Okay, ocean section, okay.
We don't have an ocean.
Right, we don't have an ocean sound.
We don't have an ocean. We have a sound.
Sorry, on the sound, sorry. Beach side, not creek side.
So, let me see, I have to go to his, let me go to his field, let me go to the comps field card, see what we have for that.
This is
Land-
Kathleen. His house is at 364,412. That's what we have his house appraised at, right? Or whatever. That's the value in the house. The neighbor next door that we just talked about that sold for the 1,000,008, you know, the land value is almost identical. They're the same size lots. So neighbor at 1,000,008 had we decided what, $100,000 garage or a $90,000 garage in that number. So that house is really at 1,000,007. I think Catherine said this already. I'm sort of catching up. So the question is this guy 1,000,005 if the neighbor's 1,000,000, you know, paid 1,000,007, whatever, minus the
the
other.
subject house, the house itself, the dwelling is appraised at $260,400. $260,400 is the appraised value of the dwelling.
And this appraised building on the comp, built in 2000, is 223,000. Oh, that's the assessed. I'd have to go to Vision to get it. I was on MLS. I can't see it on there.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong number. Sorry.
Anyway, I mean,
It's 260.
I think the two houses are fairly comparable. Plus, he says his is not updated, and this guy's was built in 2000, so obviously it's going to be more updated than his. But I think the land value of $1,500,000 is grossly overestimated.
This is Harold. What did you pull up the card? Did you see what the land value is appraised at?
I'm looking at the other one. I'm looking at the comp now. That's not it.
Yes.
Sorry to do this to you, Paulette. Give me a number. What address on Pine Creek Avenue?
179.
Thank you.
179, was it? 179.
Yes, I believe that's the one that you specified.
Thank you.
And let me add that Judy has joined the board.
Hey, Judy.
Judy Sablack has joined the board at 8:46 p.m.
We got one
Back
done
at
when you were away.
Thanks. Change your clock, Harold.
7:46, you're right.
Which property are we discussing now? I would like to add in the discussion. I will abstain from voting, but I will join the discussion on it.
Okay.
This is
Your
appeal
appeal
number
608.
608. The address is 48 Pond Creek Avenue.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for finding that, Paulette's pulling them out.
Looking for the land, okay. All right, the comp's land value on this one is 2020. Land
523.
appraised, here it is. Yeah, 523 for the land with the improvement, comes out to 895,100. Way different than 1.5.
Certainly is.
This is Kathleen. So Harold, their argument was really comparing their land, the town's appraised value for their land versus the neighbors, right? Is that the argument that they made when they asked you for the reduction, or were they also saying my condition is really bad and they want it for both?
Well, if I read the reason for the appeal, adjacent home
Oh, yeah.
is larger with 3-car garage, recently sold for $1,850,000. Subject property has not been updated in 25 years at least. Per square foot assess of land not same as similar neighborhood properties.
Right. This is Kathleen. So we know you can't do per square foot on land because land's a curve, right? So that the argument for the land is different, but the say that the adjacent homeowner with 3-car garage sold for $1,850,000, and and they're wanting to go 350,000 less than that, right? By being reduced. So that's sort of what they're saying, because the square footage on the land.
Well, they're valued, the comp is valued as, the land code is single family. And their code is oceanfront.
This is Harold. I would also point out that if we think about the comparison of 38, the town's value for 38 Pine Creek Avenue, and the town's value here is very similar, because the $1,850,000 we determined included the garage across the street. So apples to apples, house property to house property, the town has them comparably assessed, appraised, and assessed.
Well, this is Paulette. Because they're the same doesn't mean it's right. It just means it may not be properly assessed. It's what it is assessed at, which we don't know if it's right or not. We just know that that's what it is. So looking at his house too, and that house, the 1850, I believe, was larger and did have a 3-car garage. So not just the land, he's looking at the house too. And he's saying that his market value, fair market value for the whole package should be $1.5 million.
This is Harold. I am suggesting that we remove the value of the garage, and we see, we can look back and see what the square footage was, but the house-to-house valuation appears to me to be very similar. The town had the property at 38 Pine Creek Avenue appraised at $1,613,300. And here the town has it valued at $1,640,000. Difference of some $27,000.
I'm looking at 38.
I'm ready to call a vote unless
I'm not-
there's,
I just need to check one more. Just want to check one more thing, which I'm doing now.
thank you.
Okay, and 38 is a larger home, and certainly we don't, he says half of it was not usable. We don't know that, so that is a larger home. So land is his land the same size? Looking for that. I don't want to hold it up. I can't see, I can't find the land size.
Paulette, what's your question? Are you questioning the one that sold for $995? He
I'm
has a
questioning-
smaller lot.
No, I'm looking for the one, all right, yes, I'm questioning the one that sold for $1,850,000 now. I'm looking for the lot.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
That's-
They're identical.
I have that information. The land size for the property at 38 Pine Creek Avenue was 158 acres. 0.158 acres.
Okay, they're basically,
Same as 48. 38 and 48, very similar size.
And I'm ready to call the vote.
This is Kathleen. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's all right.
All those in favor of granting the appeal number 608 in full to the requested amount of $1,500,000. This is appeal number 608. All those in favor, raise their hand. I see 3 votes in favor. All those opposed, raise their hand. I see 2 opposed. All those abstaining, raise your hand. I have 1 abstention. Motion is carried, 3 votes in favor, 2 votes against, and 1 abstention. But Kathy, just for our edification, could you please call the vote?
Okay, for appeal 608, 3 voted in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 abstained. Kathleen and Howard opposed, and Judy abstained.
Thank you very much.
This is Kathleen. I just wanted to point out one thing. I think the difference between the 2 properties in terms of the house is that the depreciation code on the $1.8 million sale is a 4. Depreciation code on this property is a 5. And so, you know, Ross, I don't know how you're going to adjust the card, but I do think if they were talking about the condition that at least before you do an override, perhaps the depreciation should come down somewhat. That will bring the house value down, and then however you need to get to the $1.5 million. But I think that was their point, was that they haven't updated, even though they didn't show pictures. I'd like that depreciation to stick with that property, you know, and bring the house value, the house down, and not necessarily the land, as much as we can. That's it. Doesn't change the dollar, it just changes how it looks in the system. That's all I'm saying. So that, you know, when we do this, people don't have to come back in a few years if they don't do work, right? The depreciation will still be, you know, down on their home.
This is Harold. It's now approximately 5 minutes to 8. We've been going at this for a couple of hours now, and I think I will ask the question, shall we extend our time? Well, do we have the ability to extend our time, Ross, to after 9 o'clock, or do we have a deadline with the Old Town Hall? Ross may have stepped away. Kathy?
This is Ross. I'm here. I mean, we do have people that come back to lock up at 9 o'clock.
All right. So this is Harold. I would suggest we take a 10-minute break and then continue as best we can to finish at 9 o'clock.
Sounds good.
So we'll get back at 5 minutes after 8. So this session is has an intermission. Thank you. This is Harold
recording has started.
This is Harold Zawadzki of the Board of Assessment Appeals of Fairfield. Today is Tuesday, March 16th, 2021, and we are resuming our meeting to deliberate and vote on appeals heard. The time now is 8:06 p.m. So I did those last 8, and I think might be appropriate for someone else to take over. I see that Kathleen, you have a few, and then there's Catherine. You have 1. Do you want to, Catherine, do you want to do your 1 and then Kathleen can get into hers? Is that,
Sure.
does that make sense?
Unless she gets a little more organized. I wish I used my 10 minutes break to.
Oh, well, okay.
But okay, I'll make it work. I'll make it work.
This is Kathleen. I can do the bottom one on the list first. I just want to make sure, I know Alexis has 1 on here, and she is, I think we're going to finish Sherman on trying to plan ahead, but perhaps do a lot more Sherman on Saturdays. So I don't know if Alexis wants to do hers. I know that she's tried a couple times, but the backup wasn't online. So that's sort of random, or we can do the South Pine Creek, whatever you want to do. Alexis, you have an opinion? You want to get
I
yours
can,
done?
I can
or-
do whatever you wish. I just have to get my material open. If you just give me a second, Kathleen. Or what does the chairman want to do? I'll defer to the chairman too.
What do you think, Harold? You want me to do some?
I think that the reason that we did not do the one on Sherman was because we were waiting for the data, the information to be uploaded, so it would be accessible by everyone. If that has been done and Alexis would be ready, then we could
Great.
uh,
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, this would be appeal number 432. Does everybody have
Yes.
that?
Thank you.
And again, this is Alexis Harrison speaking. The address is 576 Roland Road, and the owners are Richard and Jean Lane. And attorney Chris Russo of Russo and Rizzio spoke on behalf of the petitioners. So as you can probably see in your materials, he provided a few comps, which seemed really good to me. He also provided a graph, which me, I'm being a visual person, and it provided a nice analysis of Roland Road and some of the similar houses that are on this road, and their land appraisal, their house appraisal, and their sale data and things like that. So it seems to me that it would make sense to drop this of the request of the petitioner, just given seems like a little arbitrary to have this to be a pretty, seems a little high for this neighborhood and for the building and the lot. So I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
Catherine will second.
The
I think
motion
there's
has
any
been
discussion.
seconded.
And again, there is some backup materials that the attorney provided. One thing that struck me was there's one house, 628 Roland Road, and that has quite a bit more of land. I know that we don't really differentiate between the land and the building values, but this one house has 11,250 square feet of land and a much larger building size. And that was, wait, excuse me, that was, excuse me, I just lost my train of thought. Anyway, it just didn't seem to make sense to me, and you guys can examine it as the way you'll interpret it. But yeah, so the 576 Brooklyn Road, then there's 628, and the differential isn't that much in the appraisal, while 628 just seemed to have a lot more in terms of land and square footage.
Any comments from the members?
This is Paulette. Alexis is correct. The thing about the land is that the difference between that 7,500 square feet of land and then the 11,000 and change square feet of land is a huge difference for those houses. It may not be a big difference to the person, you might say, well, they're the same. They're not the same. And in market value numbers, there's a great difference between those. The difference between over a quarter acre in a quarter acre zone as opposed to under in a quarter acre zone makes a difference in what you can do with a lot. You have more freedom to build. So to me, that lot at the one that's the bigger lot is much more valuable.
This is Kathleen, sorry. So what's the difference in the land value between the two, or you're just saying the overall value is different?
The land appraisal, if you have the graph, Kathleen.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at the field card. Let me go back to the other document.
It's towards the end. So 576, the land appraisal is 629,100, and 628, the larger property is at 761,900.
But these are sales? No, these are just, he's just comparing.
that was, you asked for the land appraisal. That was what I gave you.
I did, yep, I'm looking for the land there. But when he's giving his comps, he's using 800, Roland?
I think 800 Roland is an amazing comp. And if you look at that one, it's so much bigger than the subject. This is, I don't know why we belabor some of these minuscule and go over all this, all the minutia when the evidence is right here. It's presented right here. It's right in front of us. I think this is, I don't have any concern or questions about this at all. It just seems to me he's absolutely spot on, and I think he's being very reasonable with his request. I look at 800. I think 800 is, look at that. That's 30, subject 3,038 square feet. Okay. Now, well, let's go look at number 800. It's on the same side of the road. Let me get there. This
is Harold. Does 800 have an elevator in it? I mean, that's a tall drink.
I'd have to look. It is quite tall, no question. I don't know how much, I'm not a realtor. I don't know how much value you put on I know elevators are worth something, but I don't know. I haven't seen the elevator. I don't know what it looks like. I know some of them are more grand and others are not. It does have an elevator, the one that you were just referencing.
Yeah, it's also 500 square feet larger. It's over 500 square feet larger. So, yeah, it may have an elevator, but it's a lot bigger too.
Plus it's a 576, it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1.5 bath, and 800 is 4-bedroom, 4-bath, and a half bath, 4.5 baths. So it's an extra bedroom, an extra bath, more land. I see no, I agree with Judy. To me, it's a slam dunk. And that house should not be.
I think the petitioner, and then I think he's being pretty reasonable. I mean, he's only asking to go down by, $480,000, give or take.
This is Kathleen. That's just a lot. That's $500,000 almost off. So he's asking for what, I don't know what the percentage reduction is, but what is it? It's 28% off. So he's coming down almost 75% of its value. So I think that if that's the case,
75%? I don't know if that's 75%.
well, he would be at 75% of where he was. He come down 30%. So I'm just saying, the town must have gotten that one really wrong at that value to give him up. He's going to get $480,000 off his appraised value in the beach area. So I think
I agree, Kathleen. The town must have gotten that one really off.
I mean, it doesn't.
This is Kathleen. So Ross, do you have any input as to why that might be off by so much?
I mean, all due respect, Kathleen, I think the town has had their opportunity for their appraisal.
I agree. This is Paulette.
No disrespect to Ross at all, but I think that time has passed.
That ship sailed. Time to move on.
Yeah, this is Ross. Did you say 800 is a smaller lot?
Let me look it up.
No,
I'm showing 800 is a larger lot.
it's a larger lot. It's larger.
Larger.
No, I'm sorry, the other way around.
Larger too.
576 is larger than 800.
In lot or land? I mean, in land or building?
In the land.
Let me see. Theirs is 0.17.
So I believe you have that incorrect. You've got it backwards.
172 is 576. The land down here looks like it's 0.172 acre, or 7,500 square feet. Now, 800. As soon as I find it, 800 is
Wait, look.
6,300 square feet. You're right. But one of them is 11,000 square feet. I can't
Wait,
find
so
that
the land is 11,000 square? I'm getting confused here.
On 800, the land is smaller. He's right. But one of them, I can't find it now. One of them has a land size of 11,200 and something square feet. I got to find
I
it.
think 593 is a pretty good comp here.
Let's see. 800. So
We
Or
talk about land values all the time and that like a little extra land is not gonna make all that much difference. Look at the size of the house. You know, it's got a little bit and more it's a very minuscule part of, minuscule more acreage. But the size of the house is really, really important here too, and you guys are missing that.
I
You're not missing it, Paulette. But it's 3,500 square feet as opposed to 3,000 square feet.
at 300 or more dollars a square foot is a lot of money.
Right.
This is how, there's a comparison table on page 19. I don't really see an appraisal. Is there a professional appraisal attached to this document somewhere?
I don't see
Stop
it.
that. No.
But there's a table on page 19 with the comps. Well, all the information we were asking about is there.
Right. Yeah, I pointed to that to you guys.
Let me see that table again. Where is it? There it is. Okay. All right. So
I like where the ladies are going, where help me get to, because I like to start with the sale date and take it from up that, I like the sale price approach and let's compare to 2 or 3. My concern is that the sales that are here for all 3 of the comps are pretty, there's 2 from 2019. They're pretty far outside of the reval period.
Yep.
So, could you adjust? Because it is, to me, it is a lot of money. And I'm not saying, 1680 is the right number, but to get to 1,200, I'm like, well, 480,000. I just want to feel like, okay, if I took the sale price of 1,850,000, it should sell less than that, or the 1,240. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
No,
a
I get what
time.
you're saying, and I think we could consider something more middle ground here. Just looking at these numbers again and just the
And I could
differences.
go with that. And I just, I kind of hate to just throw numbers around, but it's a little hard because I agree with you, Judy. I kind of like, okay, it should sell less than the 800 Roland. We have a little, but that was $1,240,000, a year and a half ago.
Right. So even if
12
you added $100,000 or $200,000 between that time and today, that house still has more square footage and it has more amenities. And if this guy wants it 1.2, it's to me that's a no-brainer.
When did one sell? I'm looking at, what's that graph? Was that?
When
Table.
did this
The
house sell?
1,200,000 sold May of 19.
Good.
The sold May of 19. Is that what I heard?
800 Roland, May of 19. That's my issue. I like the 1,240. I would go, yeah, he's got to be a little less than that. I totally get that. But I'm a little like the 1,240 is a year and a half ago. So if that's,
So
I would entertain another, a different decrease. And I would love to hear from the, experts, the realtors in the room.
Well, this is Kathleen. That's a 2007 build, that 800 Roland, right? Or 2005. So that's a pre-FEMA build. Oh, was this other comp 593 Roland the one that sold for $1.4 million?
Yes.
Okay, so that house was built in 2015. It is a post-FEMA build. It's
Well,
got
I don't
32
know what that means post FEMA or before. I mean, I understand what it means, but I don't know how that incorporates into the price.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. The pre-Sandy builds just didn't consider the things they did after Sandy when they built them. I'm not saying that it's not FEMA compliant. I don't know that.
I mean, to the realtors, would that make a difference? I mean, can you educate me here?
Yes, being FEMA compliant would make a difference because it has a lot to do with the
Oh,
flood.
no, I understand that, but we don't know if it is or it
We
isn't.
don't
So
know,
I don't
right.
know why someone would make that sweeping statement.
Yeah, we can't, because I've sold houses down there that were pre-Sandy, yet when the builder was doing it, he had a feeling those flood lines were going to change, and he made it to a much higher level. And it just so happened that it worked out for him, because when they raised the flood line, that house was still FEMA compliant. And remember, they're not on Fairfield Beach Road. We're not going to be looking for an 18-foot elevation. It's whatever it is for that street. It could be a 9-foot elevation. We don't know. There's no way to know.
This is Harold. I find that there are two other sales that are neighboring properties. There's 524 Roland that sold in 10/5/2020 for $1,885,000. That's right on the same block per se. And the other one is at 628, which sold a little bit before at 9/1/2020.
I see 620.
What are the square footages on these properties? Because even 593, that's still substantially larger than the subject.
Yeah,
Well,
620.
I'm looking at two other sales that were made at 524 and 628 Roland.
And what was the square footage on those homes?
I would have to pull up the cards. I can do that momentarily while we're talking.
I'll look on the MLS.
They
The
were really
628
big, but
Sorry, 628 is in this table that he has. That's the one that sold for 1,774. It's 1,000 square feet bigger, and that's the one that has the 11,250 square feet of land, which makes it bigger than a quarter acre. And it's got 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. The subject has 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, less land, and 1,000 square feet smaller. So now this house is more than what his appraisal is from the town, but it's got to be more. There's bigger difference there than what it shows. That 1,680 and the 1,774,100 for that other house, there's not that much a difference in that when you subtract them, but that's a big difference in house and house size. So they're too close. Those two are too close together.
If you want to look, if you want to consider, if you choose to consider the 524 Roland, that house does have a swimming pool. It has 0.172 acreage, 1.172. If anyone wants to note that, and it has
Well, I don't know what a swimming pool does or doesn't do, honestly, Harold. Like, I just don't know what that means. I mean, some people find it a value, some people don't. So,
Well, I thought people were asking about the square footage. That's 3,341 square feet. But that is a sale that took place within the period.
mhm.
I'd say I don't disagree that I would like to start with a comparable sale. That's what I started saying, to find a comparable property. But I wish and while I don't disagree that 593 and 800 would be comparable properties to look at, the sales are just so early in 2019. I'd like to see them adjusted before I take a
If we can-
stab at the $1.2 million.
Let's see if we can.
And Kathleen had her hand up.
Yeah, this is Kathleen. I mean, we ask most of our other appellants to bring in sales, recent sales. We try to get sales as close to the reval date as possible. And, I just feel like throwing in some 2019 sales is just not an appropriate way, and asking for $500,000 off a house is not an appropriate way to present your case. And if he had made a better case, I would be more inclined to say, okay, let's try to figure out what this house should be. But he really didn't. He went to $1.2 million, which is lower than 2019. And we know the market's much better than it was in May of 19. So I just feel like, I think we should, I'm not going to vote for this, and I would appreciate it if he would come back next year with better sales comps and better analysis on why he feels
Yeah,
he's
but he's
gross.
asking this year, so we have to either deny him, which we can do, or
Right. I don't
find
think
him
it's our
to find-
job. Yeah,
Okay.
he's representing the homeowner, I believe. If it's Chris Russo or Robert Russo, I don't know who came
Yeah,
in.
Chris Russo, yep.
Chris Russo. So yeah, he's probably being paid by the homeowner to represent them. I just don't think he did
Well,
a
we
very
have-
good job of representing the homeowner. That's
We
my
have-
point.
We have three options. I will mention again, we have a motion on the table. We can vote for, that motion can be amended, and we can vote on an amendment to have a grant in part, or we can go to a vote to, yes, Ross?
I'm not, never mind. I was just looking at his grid,
Yeah.
and he's got a revised appraised value on the grid of 1,409,161.
Where's that?
On the
Which copy?
chart, on the chart, it says footnote.
Page 19.
Page
Yeah, that's
19.
what that I referenced earlier. This is Harold speaking.
Okay.
I don't see page numbers, so I have to scroll through the whole thing to
I
find it.
know, I agree. Well, it's pretty close to the end. It's just above his fields. There's a field card.
Oh, I see it.
And go up 3 pages.
I see it.
Revised total appraisal 1,409, 161 is page 19. If you look at the top of the screen, it'll tell you the different page numbers.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing them, but that's okay. It could be my computer, the way it's.
I
So-
don't see them either. I think we're on different, you and I.
I don't see
the
page numbers either, but it is what it is.
It's your browser. This is kind of, I'm pretty sure it depends what browser you're using.
So,
Excuse me,
irrelevant though. That's a really, I'm looking at that revised total of 1,000,004. So is it 1,000,002 or is it 1,409 that he's asking for?
This is Paulette. Catherine, just to answer your question from a few minutes ago, you'd like to see something more in line with the prices at the farther end of the evaluation period. 365 Lally Boulevard, Roland Lally Penfield, all the same as far as desirability and value. For 1,645 in December of 2020. It's colonial, built in 2017, 11 rooms, 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, 3,500 square feet. And the property size is a little less than the 11, it's 0.25. So it's less than the 11,000, but somewhere it's way over, it's over 97.5.
7,500.
So, yep, way over that. So, and this one is, when was his built?
Six-
Uh,
God.
2016.
Okay, so this is only a year newer. So, and that closed at 1,645. And his was appraised by the town at 1,68060. So that's higher than this one. This one's got 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths.
This is Kathleen. Does that one have an elevator, Paulette?
I'm looking.
He's got an elevator valued at 61,000, so that's bumping him up quite a bit. His pool, not so much, but his elevator does.
First of all, is that the best? Is that
Yeah.
the town's, the elevator? Yeah,
Correct.
that does
Yeah,
have
but
the elevator.
the elevator could also be disputed too, and I say that with respect. I mean, some people do dispute the value of an elevator. That's a fact.
It says elevator, main level by elevator. Something's one,
There is an
some
elevator here, but I mean,
elevator in it.
This is Harold. Again, I point to that page in the documentation, which I see as 19, but as Catherine said, it's 2 pages, 3 pages above the end of the document. And it does show the comparison of the other properties, but underneath it does say revised appraisal of improvements. And so the revised total appraisal that's being offered, not irrespective of, but associated with the petition, is now stated in this document at 1,409,161. So if we want to revise the to say that the appellant is requesting a reduction to the appraisal of 1,409,161, I think that can be done.
This is Kathleen. Alexis, is that what he said? What number did he ask for in his hearing?
he asked for 1.2.
Okay.
Okay.
But is someone making a motion to change the applicant's opinion of fair market value? I'm not hearing that yet.
I think that's what's being bandied around, yes.
This is
And this
Paulette.
is, I think that you can withdraw your motion and restate. If-
Well, I don't have a number yet, and I may not have one, so that would be, I can withdraw my motion, but will somebody else be
Or
thinking
we,
about?
or we can call it to a vote.
This is Paulette. I'm comfortable, if you are, Alexis, this is your appeal. I would be willing to say and agree with the appraisal part where he's got the 1409, because I have a feeling that if we go vote for what he really wanted, he asked for, we're not going to get it.
Right.
And he's way over us appraised. So, and by the way, an elevator does not cost $61,000 to install, so it shouldn't be that by the
No,
town.
it doesn't.
either.
It doesn't.
So, that right there is a problem. So I would be willing to, I'd be okay with the 1409, 163. If you are, your appeal, you
So
decide.
I'm fine with that. I'm going to withdraw my motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do we need to vote on that? Does anybody?
Kathleen,
so make the-
usually what we've been doing is motioning and then amending the motion rather than withdrawing because, I think we're changing it. He said 1.2 million. We're going to change it to 1.4 million if that's what you're saying. So
I'd
I
like
think
to-
we should amend the motion and grant in part.
I
That's
agree with that, Kathleen.
We have to vote on the amendment.
right. I would do it that way. That's how we've been doing all the other ones.
Somebody's got to make that amendment, though.
And I know Ross has asked us to round to the nearest hundredth. He can't get like the 161 to work, but so you would round to 1409, 200.
Okay.
Alexis, do you want to make
I
that
would
as
like
your,
to offer a motion to make the appellant's fair market value of 1.402.
1,409,100.
Sorry, did I say that wrong?
I think the correct number that you're seeking is, and correct me if I'm wrong, $1,409,200. All right, do we need to vote on that? Well, we need to second the motion. I'll second the motion. And we'll come to a vote unless there's further discussion.
This is Kathleen. I just want to point out, he came to that number by doing average square foot of living area for the comparable properties and multiplying it by the
Right.
square footage of the living area, which is not what we usually allow people to do. So I'm just want to point that out. We usually don't take that kind of square footage averaging of square footage. Just want to point that out.
And this is
What?
Paulette.
Is there rules on that? Like, I don't know that.
This is Paulette. I'm sorry. I understand, Kathleen, but you're right. We usually don't do that, but that's not how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the whole picture, seeing that he's way over us, appraised by the town. The 1.2, we can't seem to justify. And I think that the number he came up with is a fair number. So I'm looking at it as a fair number based on especially the comp I just looked at, which also has a built-in pool, rather than what the town has him at. So to me, it's a compromise that's fair based on what he provided.
Right. So this is Kathleen. So you're just sort of saying his number is right, not how he got to his number.
I'm saying that we don't, if we don't usually use that method, that's fine. I'm not using that method. I'm saying my method was different, but I don't disagree with that number. So that's why I'm willing to say that I
No, I appreciate that. That's how, because that we've sort of been saying that to others when we've not granted their appeals. So, okay.
All right, I'm going to call a vote to grant to the requested amount of $1,409,200. All those in favor, raise.
I'm sorry, Harold,
before
you're voting on the amendment. I think we have to vote on the amendment now.
Yes, that's what I asked
I'm
earlier.
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's late. It's okay, Harold. It's getting late.
It is.
All those in favor on the
That's
amendment,
what
and the amendment is to change the number, okay? Up to vote on the amendment?
I'm letting Judy vote this time. I'm sitting back. So we don't have a tie.
Okay. So we have 5 in favor and
Well, then if there's 5 in favor, then I'll just put my hand up and say yes, because it doesn't matter. I would have voted yes.
We have unanimous vote on the amendment, and the count is 6-0-0. Kathy, can you announce the vote, please? On the amendment.
The vote on the amendment to appeal number 432 passed unanimously 6-0-0.
Okay. Now we're going, this is Harold, we're going to vote on the reduction from the town's value to the requested amount of $1,409,200 with rounding to that number. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Was that a hand, Paulette?
Yes, well, I think it was a hand. I'm sorry, I kind of lost track of what I was doing.
You want to repeat the motion? You want to just repeat it, Harold, please?
We have 2 votes in favor.
So can you repeat the motion, just so everybody's clear?
Yes. The motion was to grant the appeal to the requested amount of $1,409,200, and the result was 4 in favor, 3 opposed, and 1 abstention. Kathy, can you repeat, please, the vote?
I'm not clear on who voted which way. I saw Alexis voted for, I thought.
Can we just revote again and just?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
It was a grant in part too, I believe, Harold, right? Because the requested amount was $1.2 million. That's what the appellant requested. So it's a grant in part to $1,400,000, whatever the number is. That's the motion.
Yes, so we are voting to grant in part to $1,409,200. All those in favor of granting in part, raise your hand. We have 3 votes in favor of granting, 4 votes in favor
Well, I
of.
can't see Kathleen's hand because I have a timer in front of her screen. So Kathleen, are you voting or not? The other way.
No. There were 4 votes cast for granting the appeal to, in part, to $1,409,200. And all those opposed, raise their hand. 2 opposed, no abstentions. The motion is carried 4-0. Kathy, can you repeat the vote, please?
Okay, so the vote to grant in part a reduction to $1,409,200 passes with a vote of 4-0. Howard
Thank
and
you.
Kathleen voted against.
Correct. Thank you, Alexis.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the good discussion.
Okay. Kathleen, shall we pick up with what
Let's
you
go.
have?
Let's go back to South Pine Creek and see if we can polish off these 4 before the end of the night. That would be helpful. Catherine, if you want to go, if not, I'll pull one of mine. I've got 3, you've only got 1, so.
Sure, I will, so let me pull out my, I keep going, I have 1 left in Sherman and 1 here, I can't decide.
I'm trying to get you there.
Okay. Appeal number appeal number 634. Let me close that one and call up 634. The address is 154 Gorham Road. The appellant and owner is Eleanor Mattock. And the town has a value of $734,500. the appellant is requesting a revaluation to 480,000. I'd like to make a motion to approve the reduction. Do I have a second?
This is Harold, I second.
Thanks,
Sorry,
Harold.
turn my video back on.
So, okay, the subject property, they decided that they were going to rehab it. And so they ripped many of the rooms down to the studs. And there were things that weren't working. And they did all that just as COVID hit, and then couldn't get any contractors. So the house has been vacant, not really exposed to the elements, but there's just been a lot of water damage. And you can see from the pictures, they had started their renovation. I don't know that they pulled any permits for the renovation. Didn't see anything on the field card, but now it has fallen significantly into disrepair. Then the owner presented 4 comparable properties that sold. I wish there was a nice little chart, but I'll walk them through. The one that's on the same street is towards the end. It's 127 Gorham. It sold for $575 on December 20th, 2019. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, does have a shed, 1,200 square feet. The lot's 9675. It was very fresh and very updated. Not very updated, fresh and updated. It was good, 575. How that compares to the comp is really only 4 rooms, 2 bedrooms, not 3, 1 bath. Unsure if there's a garage. I think it's attached or so, and the thing is, the lot's very large on this subject's property, 18,000 square feet.
It's a really odd shaped lot though. Did you look at the lot?
It is. It's a very odd shaped lot. It's a very pie shaped. She has, in 2015, she was remeasured. The Board of Assessment Appeals made an adjustment in 2016. And now you have it. And how she described it, the back, she has about 20 feet of, yard, usable yard, and then a significant slope up the back. And because of the condition of the property, she's really been trying on her own to sell it to some builders. That's what she thinks it's, where it's going to go, because she can't fix it up anymore. It would take, she also gave me a list of all the repairs. It would probably take, a couple $100,000. She's moved on. And so that's kind of the concern. So just, she also had a comp on 740 South Pine Creek, which was really a very, very updated. A lot of the numbers match. Again, 3 bedrooms to her 2, did have central air, sold for $599 July of 20. And what she thinks is her best comp is 273 Arbor, which sold for $488 on October 1st, 2020. That location, it's not very private. It's on a corner, a little busy corner, but it was at least dated, and the numbers are better for her. It still is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. She had only 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. Now she doesn't have any bath, but the numbers, she thought that would be the value. So that's where she's coming up with. And I'm not sure. You can't really just rip up all the studs out. So, but that's where she is. So that's the story. Does anybody have any questions or concerns or something I can dig into?
This is Paul. I'm wondering if, obviously she probably didn't pull permits if there's none on the field card, nothing at all. But I think you can rip a house apart. I think you can rip a house apart without permits, because you're not tearing it down. You can rip the whole inside out. You can't put it back until you pull those permits legally. So it's in a condition now where I don't know, I guess I would ask Ross about this, but you see the pictures of the condition it's in. Couldn't we consider this like the ones after Sandy at the beach, where they ripped them apart on the inside to prevent mold, but they hadn't done anything with them yet? Didn't we do something with them so we reduced their their values until they redid them? Wasn't that we did?
Well, and her
This is
land
Ross. I
value,
mean,
because
normally on something like that, we would do a UC under construction or a PD for physical damage,
Okay,
and that would, take a chunk out of the building.
okay.
her appraisal, her town values very heavily. The town has the land valued at
Oh,
640,000.
no.
It's
Oh,
almost all of her, because it's such a large piece. I took a look at that and I was like, you can't just take the dwelling down.
Okay,
Good
let's
thought, Paulette, but
yeah, I'm not thinking, maybe we can do both. What, how
yeah,
big's the?
I'm just saying, I mean, that's,
Yeah. Let's see, where's the land?
You're on mute.
oh, Harold, sorry, you are on mute.
Yeah, this is Ross. Just to confirm, there's no permits since 2009.
My question was, is this on a corner lot?
I think it's more like a cul-de-sac.
It
And
is
that's
at
why
the
it's
end of the
high.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
So it is at the end. Well, there you go. See, Judy's on it.
Okay, because I do see a curved curb.
Yeah,
Curb.
it's an angle. It's a really odd angle.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, total pie
But-
shape.
yeah, there's a lot of that. There's almost about 1/3 of that property that nobody's ever even really going to go to. It's all the way that the house sits on in front of it. There is the right rear area is not really anything you're going to do unless you play bocce and then you handle that every once in a while, but that's it. It's a really odd shaped lot.
And the street has not been proven to have many new, they're kind of the standard houses, the fixer-uppers. So, the builders who are coming in are telling her it's not really proven to be a street that they can put those duplexes on or put up one of those brand new houses. They'd be the first one on the street to do that.
Oh,
Thanks for showing that, Ross.
very helpful. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, that Arbor Road is not a comp. I just throw that out. It's
It was
like,
the price. Yeah, I mean, I can't say, yes, but that's where she was getting her value of.
So this is Kathleen. Ross, what kind of adjustment do we typically put on lots like that, or they're such an awkward shape like that? I mean, do we do a 0.8? Do we do a 0.85? I mean, she may, I don't know where we're going with the price here, but I think if nothing else, we probably should, because it doesn't look like there's any adjustments, on that condition factors on for that odd shaped lot.
And also, I think based upon what we've seen on the interior, the condition of the home and depreciation code could also be looked at.
Yeah, she does back up to Sasko Hill Road, but I can't tell how much of an incline there is there.
She says she has about 20 feet of backyard, and then it's a pretty significant slope that goes up maybe 10 or 15 feet. It's like over her head, but not,
Oh, I see it now.
not a mountain.
Mhm.
But she does say that causes a lot of the water to come right down fast, and you can see what her basement looks like.
Well, this is how clearly the house is set for a rebuilding, remodeling.
So I'm open to different, I mean, the houses that were certainly in very nice condition, fresh updated, 127 Gorham, 740 South Pine Creek are all the 3-bedroom, 2-bath. They all have more than her, and they went for $575 to $599. So,
Like I said,
it's
this is Kathleen. I'd like to see what a land adjustment. I'd like to see what a land adjustment does first and see how far that brings her down, and then we can decide,
May I
That's
ask
fine.
a question? How do we go by that? We don't divvy up things by land and buildings on our forms.
This is Kathleen. That's correct, but if we permanently code this property as an awkward shaped lot, then no matter what goes on, it will always be valued, the land will be valued less than the neighbor's property. So while we're looking at the whole thing, that's correct. But one way to keep it that way so it doesn't bounce back and just put an override on it is to at least bring the land, code the land as an awkward lot, then it stays in perpetuity on that lot. And it's always going to be valued, the land, because it is in the formula, it's going to bring her land down compared to her neighbors. And it doesn't appear, we do that with wetlands, and then the wet ones are always less land because they're coded with a condition factor. So I think she probably deserves a condition factor to start. And then we'll see if we can, if you want to bring her down more than that, we can do that. But I would let's see what we can do with the awkward shaped lot, because she did bring that to our attention.
Okay.
I like that process, Kathleen. I think that's a good.
And a 0.85, land adjustment may well bring her down, 150. I don't know, but it's worth taking a
Well,
look
because
at.
the dwelling's already at 93,000.
Right.
So,
Right.
we're not going to get anywhere near her $300,000 reduction.
This is Paulette. I just want to point out that this house sits in an A zone, so there is no chance of doing a duplex there.
That is what the builders have been telling her. And there's also not much of an option to even do one of the new builds because
Nope.
that has not been proven on the street either.
Yeah, because the shape of the land, you won't have enough with the setbacks. And that curve in the street is a problem. Plus the sides, the way it's shaped, it's really not gonna bring anybody.
It's hearsay. She says she's contacted 7 builders to
Yeah.
tell her exactly what you're saying. So, and because I asked her if it was listed, and it is not, because she's trying to do it on her own.
So let's continue with looking at what a reduction in the condition would do to the land value and the value of the property as a whole.
Yeah, this is Ross. I did 0.9 and it brought the total of the property to 670,400.
How about,
We
could we go lower?
This is. Can you adjust the land more?
0.85 brings it to 638,400.
I'm sorry, this is Kathleen. What was that, a 0.85?
638,400.
But that's with a 0.85.
Right, correct.
That's the total property. So the land value goes down to,
545,000 even.
127 Gorham has to be a comp at 575.
This is how, well, if do the 0.85 to 638,400 appraised value, that takes the assessment down to 446,880. And our previous assessment was still 366,590. Am I correct? 638,400 divided by 0.7 times 0.7.
She's not asking for an assessment of 480. She's asking for a fair market value of 480.
Right. So I guess what I'm seeing is that the 0.85 does not get her closer to her number. To the
So
same.
you're not taking into account the condition of that home. I think it's great that we now are addressing the property, but now we have to address the home in its current state. It's not mortgageable. It's not mortgageable like that.
This is Harold. If we took the total appraised value off the home, that still doesn't get her where she wants to be.
well, this is Kathleen. Do we think she should be as low as she wants to be? Do we think she should be at 480?
I think she should be lower, but she asked for 480, so I'm not going to argue with it. You have an uninhabitable house on a piece of property that really doesn't allow to really do anything with it, who's going to pay 400,000 for it? Nobody.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to pay cash. That's the
Right,
other thing.
And they're not going to, don't forget, that's a distressed property on a crummy lot. Anybody who wants it's going to take advantage of that and pay, they're going to want to pay nothing for it. Because basically it's not worth all that much. But I mean, what does that structure have a value of? It's basically useless.
It's for firewood. The structure is right now good for firewood. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry.
And I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's really, I mean, they have no use of it at all.
So are we ready to take a vote? And Ross he knows where he needs to adjust his lines, or
I'm okay
do we
with
have
that.
enough to decide that now? Because it's coming up on 9 o'clock. I know, I don't want to rush anybody, but I don't know what value we're adding now.
Yeah, let's call for a vote. I'd like to call the question.
No, I'm sorry, Alexa, you're breaking up a little bit. I want to make sure, does everybody, I don't want to rush anybody.
Ross, I'd like to put to a full screen so we can see the voters. Thank you. Okay. I'm calling for a vote.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
The motion is to approve the requested amount in full of $480,000. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed? The vote is unanimous. 6 votes in favor of granting the appeal. Kathy, you want to call the vote and we can move on from there.
Okay, for Appeal 634, the vote was unanimous to reduce the appraised value to $480,000.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I appreciate the discussion.
All right, it is now 9 o'clock.
This is Kathleen. I mean, the rule is in town hall, whether they lock up at 9, but that custodians can stay as long as there's meetings going on there, they're allowed to stay. So technically this is a meeting, or they pay them extra to stay. So I don't know. I have an easy one. I'd like to get it off the table if everybody's okay with that. I don't think it's going to take very long.
Ross, are you okay with that? Ross, I mean, I'd like to defer the person who's actually at town.
True.
This is Harold.
I've been at town hall every night till 9, 10 o'clock for the last 3 weeks, so.
I'm
And
going to.
there's not much end in sight. So, I mean, if you want to do one more, that's fine, but.
Kathleen, if you want to, yeah, okay.
All right. So form. Okay.
I had hearings this morning. I have hearings tomorrow morning, and I'll overdo it. So
Yeah, me too.
All right.
So
This is Harold. As the chair, I state that any members that wish to leave the meeting can do so. As long as we have a quorum, we can continue. So.
Let's just do one more then, okay?
Let's do it.
I'm going though.
All right.
Fine.
Judy is leaving the
Night,
quorum
Judy.
at 9:01.
Thank you.
Judy's leaving the meeting. We still have a quorum of 5. Good night. We still have a quorum of 5 members, so we are continuing with the next appeal. Kathleen?
Yep, so this is appeal number 40. A property address is 375 South Pine Creek Road. The owner of the property is Rosalie Masseria, trustee. The town has the property valued at $525,800. She's requesting a reduction to $482,500. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's appraised value to $482,500.
I'll second that motion.
This appeal is open for discussion.
Okay, and this is,
I'm sorry. The appeal number?
40.
Thank you.
Sure. So the appellant purchased this property on September 1st, 2020 from an estate after the property had been on the market for more than a year. She showed me the listing history for it. I believe it was a phone interview. She did negotiate it in mid-July with a closing date of, like I said, 9/1/20. I believe it was originally listed at 564, then took a reduction in September of 19, took a reduction to 499 in June of 20, and then again she purchased it for the 482,500. So I would say, since was an arm's length transaction, it was out of an estate on the market for more than a year, I'm comfortable voting now to approve this request. But if anybody has any questions on the appraisal or wants to spend more time on it, I'm good with that.
This is Harold. I have no need to further discuss. I can call the vote. If anyone has anything else to say, we will listen. Otherwise, I will call the vote. All those in favor of granting this appeal in full, raise your hand. I have 5 votes in favor of granting the appeal. It's unanimous. The appeal is granted. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you for making it easy at the end of the night. All right.
Good to go.
This is Harold. It is 9:04 p.m. and I'm seeking a motion to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Who made the motion? Did I?
I think you're making the motion, right?
Okay, I make the motion to adjourn.
And I'll second it.
It was seconded by Alexis. Thank you very much, everyone, for your participation.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Please check your calendars for our next deliberation meeting and other activities, hearings, and the like that you have scheduled. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ross. Bye.
Good night. Good night.
You can
Thank you,
end,
Kathy and Ross. Good night.
thank you. You can end the recording.
Good night.
Good night.